Alrighty, folks, you know I'm feeling great on a Sunday morning because we're now 4-0 in our last four NBA tier package picks on my premium site. I'll explain a little bit more about that in just a moment. But before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick timeout and welcome you to my NBA free pick video here today for Sunday, March 3rd, 2024. Happy Sunday to you. Hopefully you're having a great weekend. And of course, my name is Brock Page. I've been dishing out free sports picks right here on YouTube since 2016. And once again, we are 4-0 in our last four NBA tier package picks on my premium site. And if you want to see which one of these free plays on this video that I actually like the best, you may want to think about signing up for that package here today. You'll get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. Now, you may be wondering what the difference is between what I do here on YouTube and what I do on my premium site. Well, what I do here on YouTube is I'll handicap the entire slate of games in any given sport, side and total. What I do on my premium site is, well, I actually share with you which one of these free plays on these videos that I actually like the best. Once again, folks, we are 4-0 in our last four NBA tier package picks. And the good news is we have another one going off here today. We currently have over 1,280 members who are signed up and active on my premium site right now. And that's patreon.com/BrockPage. But with that, folks, we're going to do what we came here to do, and that is give you free content. So let's go ahead and get started. Sixers, Mavericks, 1 o'clock Eastern start time. Dallas is minus 7.5, totals 237. Now the Mavs got the W in 7 out of their last 10. And they went 70% against the number during that time frame. When it comes to shooting the long ball, the Mavs are making 15 three-pointers a game. They're in the top 3 in the NBA in that particular category. Kyrie Irving is drilling 41% of his long balls, second on the roster in scoring. Meanwhile, Luka Doncic, he leads the NBA in points per game. Now they're facing a Sixers team who continues to have problems covering the point spread themselves. They failed to cover in 7 out of their last 10, and they do have a losing road record against the West. And I'll tell you, when it comes to shooting the long ball, Philly's had a tough time getting the job done. They're currently in the bottom 5 in the East in three-pointers made per game. Now, injury-wise, Oubre and Martin are questionable. Melton, Embiid, and Covington still out. When it comes to the total, Philadelphia saw overs recently against the likes of Charlotte, Cleveland, and Atlanta. They're also 5-3 to the over in their last 8 road games against the West. Now, Dallas saw their last 3 straight get over the total themselves, giving the Mavericks minus 7.5, over 237. Next ball game, it is going to be Warriors Celtics, 3:30 p.m. East. Boston's minus 11, totals 230. And as dominant as the Celtics have been, they have had some difficulties covering the point spread against the West. They're actually covering in just 50% of their out-of-conference home games. They also made it go to work here today without Kristaps Porzingis. The big man's currently battling a quad injury. Keep an eye on him. Of course, Neemias Queta, he's also been ruled out with a knee. And they're facing a Golden State team who's really starting to hit their stride and look like themselves. Golden State's currently 8-2 straight up in their last 10. They covered in 80% of those ball games. And I'll tell you what, when the Warriors play on the road, great things happen offensively. Golden State leads the NBA in offensive points per game away from home. Steph Curry is drilling 41% of his long balls, club leader in scoring. Now, you're going to have to keep an eye on Curry. He has been battling some knee problems, although he still has not been scratched from the lineup today, so maybe we'll see him in a limited role. Meanwhile, Klay Thompson, he's second on the roster in point production himself. Now, injury-wise, Andrew Wiggins, he has been scratched. He's out for Golden State. Once again, Steph Curry battling that knee issue, so keep an eye on him. Meanwhile, for Boston, once again, Porzingis is questionable. Keita is out. 5 out of Boston's last 9 stayed under the line. The Celtics have also gone 60% to the under in their out-of-conference home games. Now, Golden State saw 7 out of their last 11 road games against the East stay under the total themselves. They were also 8-2 to the under in their last 10. Give me Golden State plus 11, under 230. Next contest, Clippers, T-Wolves, 3:30 p.m. East. Minnesota's 1.5, total 220 and a hook. And as good as the T-Wolves have been this season, they have had some issues offensively at home. They're in the bottom 5 in the West in point production in their own building. They're also a bottom 10 free throw shooting team in their own arena. And they're taking on a Clippers squad who play some pretty tough defense themselves. They're in the top 10 in defensive field goal percentage. They're also a top 5 rebounding team on the defensive end of the court as well. Kawhi Leonard snags a handful of rebounds a night, team leader in scoring. Meanwhile, James Harden and Norm Powell, they're drilling well over 41% of their three-pointers collectively. And it should come as no surprise, the Clippers are a top 3 three-point shooting team in the entire NBA. Now, injury-wise, Westbrook's out for the Clippers. Zubac is questionable. Meanwhile, for Minnesota, leading scorer Anthony Edwards, he's battling an ankle injury. Keep an eye on him. Meanwhile, Kyle Anderson's also questionable with a hammy. Jalen Clark's still out. Now, Minnesota saw unders recently against the likes of the Spurs, Nets, and Bucks. They're also 62% to the under in the target center. Now, 6 out of the Clippers' last 9 also stayed under the line. Give me the Clippers plus 1.5, under 220 and a hook. Next game, Hornets, Raptors, 6 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Toronto's minus 6.5, totals 223. Now, the Raptors covered the number in 4 out of their last 6 ball games. They also went 7-3 against the number in their last 10 gatherings with the Hornets. So if you're into historical trends, certainly want to think about that one there. And even though Toronto hasn't been overly impressive this year, they have done a nice job of rebounding at home. They're in the top 10 in offensive boards in their own arena. And they're taking on a Charlotte club who lost 23 out of 30 road games this year. And in those road trips, the Hornets, they did not score many points. As a matter of fact, Charlotte averages fewer points per contest on the road than any other roster except for one. Now, injury-wise, Curry, Martin, Ball, and Williams are still out for the Hornets. Scotty Barnes inactive for Toronto. The Raptors saw unders in 5 out of their last 9. Meanwhile, Charlotte went 7-2 to the under in their last 9 themselves. Unders against the likes of the Bucks, Blazers, and Warriors. Give me Toronto minus 6.5, under 223. Next ball game, it is going to be Pistons Magic, 6 o'clock Eastern start time. Orlando's minus 10.5, totals 218. And even though this is a bad number, the Magic should be able to cover it here. I can't imagine Detroit's going to score many points against these guys. The Pistons are just 5-25 straight up on the road this season. Meanwhile, Orlando on the other side, they're one of the toughest teams to score against on their own hardwood. The Magic, they're allowing just 107 points a night in the Kia Center. They're also the league leaders in defensive boards per game at home. And out of the Magic's last 9 ball games at any location, they got the W in all of those contests except for 2. Now, total-wise, Orlando saw unders in their last 4 straight. Unders against the likes of the Jazz, Nets, Hawks, and this very Detroit team. Now, the Pistons saw unders in their last 8 straight themselves. Give me the Magic minus 10.5, under 218. Next matchup, Pacers, Spurs, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Indiana's minus 6, totals 243.5. Now, the Pacers have put up a shit ton of points this season. They're still the highest scoring team in the NBA. They're also the best field goal shooting team in the game. They're making a league best 50.4% of their attempts from the field. Tyrese Halliburton averages 21 points a game himself, and he leads the league in assists. Meanwhile, Pascal Siakam, he's getting 20 points a night with the Pacers, and he's shooting 40% from three-land. And they're taking on a Spurs club on the other side who plays little to no defense themselves. San Antonio allows 121 points a game, and they're in the bottom 3 in defensive boards. Now, out of 27 contests in their own building, the Spurs recorded the W only 6 times. Julian Champagne's out for the Spurs. Brown and Shepard are questionable for Indy. Doug McDermott's been scratched with an ankle as well. When it comes to the total, Indy saw overs against the likes of Toronto and Houston. Meanwhile, San Antonio is currently 16-11 to the over in front of their own fans. Give me the Pacers -6 over 243.5. Next game, Knicks, Cavs, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Cleveland's -7, totals 213. And even though Cleveland's favored by a couple of baskets, they've been horrible covering the point spread. Out of their last 8 ball games, the Cavs failed to cover in all of those matchups except for one. And as far as the entire season is concerned, the Cavs do have a losing record against the point spread at home. And a big issue for Cleveland has been second-half scoring. These guys are in the bottom 10 in point production in the final 24 minutes. And they're facing a New York team who's one of the tougher teams to score on in the East. They're currently in the top 3 in the conference in points allowed per game. They also grab more defensive boards than any other roster in the NBA besides one. Isaiah Hartenstein averages nearly double-digit rebounds a game. Jalen Brunson scores the most points. When it comes to the injury list, Randall and Anunoby are still inactive for New York, although they continue to roll without those guys. Meanwhile, LeVert, Mitchell, and Okoro, they're day-to-day for the Cavs. Cleveland saw unders in 6 out of their last 10. They're also 60% to the under against Eastern Conference opponents. Now, New York saw unders in their last 5 themselves. Give me the Knicks +7, under 213. And with that, we're going to jump into our next and final breakdown for the video. It's going to be in that Thunder-Suns game. That'll be a 9:30 Eastern start time. OKC's -5 away from home, totals 233. Oklahoma City got the W in 6 out of their last 7. And they covered the point spread in all of those matchups except for one. And as much as attention as their offensive production gets, it's actually OKC's defensive performance that's been equally as impressive at times. These guys are actually in the top 3 in the NBA in defensive field goal percentage. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander leads the lineup in steals per contest, club leader in scoring. Meanwhile, Chet Holmgren, he's got the most blocks in the organization, 40% shooting from 3-land. And they're facing a Phoenix club who has not been overly crisp on offense themselves. The Suns are in the bottom 10 in three-pointers made per game. When it comes to fourth quarter scoring, nobody's worse than the Suns. Phoenix is averaging fewer fourth quarter points than any other roster in the league. Now, injury-wise, Gordon, Booker, and Little are questionable. Damian Lee still inactive. Meanwhile, Phoenix saw overs recently against the likes of the Kings and Jazz. They're also 14-8 to the over in their in-conference home games. Oklahoma City is currently 62% to the over as the official road team. Give me OKC -5 over 233. And with that, folks, we're going to dive into our quick pick recap. Give me Dallas -7.5 over 237. Warriors +11 under 230. I'm 4-0 in my last 4 NBA tier package picks on my premium site. The link is in my bio. Clippers +1.5 under 220 and a hook. Raptors -6.5 under 223. Magic -10.5 under 218. Pacers -6 over 243.5. Knicks +7 under 213. And give me OKC -5 over 233. And with that, folks, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my premium site. Now, if you do end up getting a membership here today on patreon.com/BrockPage, just a friendly reminder, you're going to get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. That's why I always tell folks That Chairman package, it's a full access, all-inclusive membership. It gives you access to every single premium selection of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you also get access to my Chairman podcast absolutely free. It's included with your purchase. But most importantly, guys, gotta thank you for joining me right here on the free video. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, folks, happy Sunday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my premium site at patreon.com/BrockPage.